And I'll be right upon. Oh, shh, listen to this.
420, 420, for 20 long years. I smoked lots of reefer, drank lots of beer. Every day at 420, we're going to settle the score. And for 20 long years, it's been 20 past 4.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Jeff Kravitz, 420 Live. Welcome. The Hump Day Wednesday edition of our folly, distraction, whatever you want to call this, the daily take you away from all the depressing shit out there that's going on. Actually, there's a lot of love going on out there right now. There's a lot of light. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming. It's coming sooner than you think. Can't believe everything you read about coups. I like that they called it the Ku Klux Klan with the pictures of the president's staff today. I was like, it's so annoying, being a human and waking up every day and doing the same thing. Today, got to make sure you eat. We got to make sure you shower. You got to make sure you take some kind of substances to keep you on the straight and narrow, or meditate or exercise. It's like every day, keeping ourselves healthy and healthier. Oh, I see Scottie in there. Looks like he's on the iPad. My guest, Scottie Upshall and Shane O'Brien, they're coming in while I do my warm-up, getting themselves all situated. Two NHL greats, two decades, 20 years of playing hockey, being on the ice, from the little tiny kids to now Scottie's got a brand new baby. We're going to get into all that in a second. How I hang out with hockey stars. You meet the craziest people. This life, it was such a gift when we were out there and we're all moving around and we're all traveling and having fun and going from this thing to the next, to the next, to the next, always booking something. And I can't tell you, I can't remember the last time I sat with 9 months. I've flown one time in the past. It's been 8 months, actually, folks. We are rolling in the 13th will be exactly 8 months to when we started the lockdown. So we're on show 173, I believe, which is 173 hours of Kravitz, which everybody knows is more than enough. Some people are good for 2 minutes. Some people are good for 173 hours and begging for more. I know you're out there begging for more. But yesterday, a great show with our friend Benji Eyes, and just so much fun, just riffing about Grateful Dead and drugs and the whole scene and what we're going through. And it's just, he had a really great perspective and it really fresh. And we got some great feedback from everybody in our community out there. So thank you everybody for tuning in. And, it was a great conversation. And then we hit politics, and it's just like, literally, I could feel the air getting sucked out of me. I'm like, no. So one thing I realized, the election is over. My campaign has finished. It is late. I'm going to let the politicians do their thing. And we're here to do our thing. One of the things we do here is we have a little, I know. You know what, Jason? Jason mentioned I have the zit here. And, I don't have any makeup here because I'm so ghetto. But I'm like a 15-year-old. I'm still getting pimples. So, and of course the family's like, yeah, it's because you eat so much sugar. And I'm like, yeah, it's all I'm eating right now is literally carbs and sugar. I stopped eating the meat, which is kind of crazy. But, stop eating meat led to me losing 10 pounds, which I didn't really see that coming because I'd been already doing the intermittent fasting and stuff like that to keep the weight off, and my bulletproof coffee every day. But I didn't really see that coming with the not eating meat. It sure cuts down on your options. But you know what, Jason? Fortunately, there's a lot prettier people to look at, and today on my show than me. And we're going to have them on in a second. Scottie Upshall, hockey player, NHL star, now the star of a podcast with his friend Obi, Shane O'Brien. These guys, we met because of Jason Weinstock, actually. Like everything that's happened in my life that had to do with Bonnaroo and me getting into that crazy world, because my friend Weinstock dragging me. I dragged him down many a dark alley, but he dragged me down some dark alleys too. And in that time, I met some amazing people. And two of the guys I met, they're all these NHL players. They get their yayas out of coming to the festivals and seeing the rock and roll. They like to see the real music, which is great. I mean, they love it all. I mean, I got a great picture of Shane. I'm going to have to find it from Dead Mouse set. So we were listening to everything. But anyway, without further ado, the host of Missin Curfew, Scottie Upshall, Shane O'Brien, welcome to 420 Live.
It's a
nice guys.
pleasure.
What's up, Jeff?
Kravitz, what up?
Nice laugh.
Can you hear us okay? What's going on?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, loud and clear, boys. Uppy, sick elevator, bud.
Hey, nice hat, O'Brien.
Fucking right. Can we swear on this?
The
You got
Missin
one in the mail, Jeff.
Oh,
Missin
good.
Curfew, baby. Right
Missin
there.
Curfew.
You
Hey,
having
tell us.
hands?
This is the new thing, right? You guys are doing the podcast. How's it going?
It's going great. We Obi had this plan for years. I used to just plan music festivals. O'Brien, on the other hand, has been planning podcasts, and he did one all last year down here in LA, covering the Ducks and the LA Kings, but wanted to have more of a flavor for himself. So he brought me in. We went over to Action Park Studios in West Hollywood with Kevin Connolly, and we started spitting stories and talking hockey on these web shows. And next thing you know, we got a live podcast, and we're enjoying it. I think we're 15 episodes in, Obi, and things are buzzing. So
Yeah, we just did our 15th. And honestly, Jeff, Uppy was still playing in Europe. And I was like, Ups, man, when you're done, I think we could do a podcast just because we've known each other for so long. We've been to so many things together. We're best buddies. And you know, we think a lot of the same about hockey. So let's just try it for the playoffs. And then we were going to do it through the Athletic, and they were dragging their feet. So we brought it to our boy, Kevin Connolly at Action Park. And he's like, I'll do it for you, boys. And next thing you know, it just kind of took off. And people started listening, Jeff, and we were kind of blown away a little bit. We're like, man, we gotta pretend like we know what we're doing now because people are actually listening.
So Kevin Connolly from Entourage.
Yeah,
right.
And he has a podcast company.
Yeah, Action Park Studios, Action Park Media in Beverly Hills. So he probably has like 20 podcasts now, Uppy, that they come through there. The Victory podcast. There's a couple more. I don't know them all, obviously, but yeah, Con's a big hockey guy, Jeff. So I met him years back. I was playing for Vancouver, playing the Kings in the playoffs, and for whatever reason, Lupo was at the game, and he was with Connolly. I met him after the game, and I said, "We'll be back in LA after we lost," and we lost in the second round. And first night I met Connolly, I ended up staying at his house for 2 nights straight, just partying with him, having a good time. So ever since then, we've been boys.
Absolutely classic. Well, it's a brave new world out there. We're communicating in a different way, right? This is kind of like the pandemic kind of led both you guys probably to do it. I mean, Scottie, you have a family now. You're officially retired, right? You're out of hockey.
I'm officially retired, yeah, but taking on new roles, harder roles actually now as a new father of 3 months. I got a beautiful little baby girl. I can't wait to have her on my shoulders at Coachella or Bonnaroo with little headphones on, watching Dead Mouse at 3 a.m. There's so many things, you know, that you get to see in your kids, and I only have a little baby, but that you see in your kids when you're a father, and things that I want to do. I can't wait. So it's been extremely it's been a wild roller coaster. I know for many people the last year, but with retirement and fatherhood, there's been a bright side to things for me. So it's been good.
And you've never been home that much, huh?
Fuck no. I like to be on the road. I do my best work on the road, Jeff, probably just like you. So you know, I'm locked myself in my elevator, if you can't see right now. So things are fucked up. When you're locking yourself in your elevator to do podcasts, you can't go roam the streets anymore.
It looks sick though, Uppy.
Yeah. So hey, Jeff, just quickly, this is the new shack I built, but I got all lyrics in here. I had my buddy come and paint them. I got songs from the Stones, Jay-Z, Coldplay, My Morning Jacket, Foo Fighters, everyone in here. It's just all some of the coolest lyrics that I like. All in my elevator. So it's pretty badass.
Is that actually an elevator?
Yeah, it sure is. This is want to go up or down, baby. Come on.
Hockey be very, very good to me. And Shane, what's your status? Are you retired? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I retired from hockey. I think I'm going on maybe my 3rd year now. So it's been a while for me, and I started doing some media stuff in Vancouver Sportsnet, and just started building it and doing it. And it's like anything, Jeff. You just gotta, you know. I thought it was going to be easier than it really was when I started doing it. Like I was so used to getting interviewed, and I thought it would be this, but it's different when you're done playing. So started doing some stuff with Sportsnet. I just did some stuff with NHL Network, Sirius Radio throughout the playoffs, and now me and Updog got this podcast. So playing golf, still not married, no kids for me, just watching Updog be an unbelievable father, actually, Jeff. When he told me the news from Switzerland, we were playing a little bit of phone tag, and I'm thinking he's calling me to tell me about the podcast, like, because we were talking about that, and he's like, I got something to tell you. I'm like, what's that? He's like, I'm having a kid, and I was like, fuck you, Uppy. What's seriously going on? But he's a great father. He's a great father, Jeff. He shocked me.
Yeah, well, we rise to the occasion. We'll talk a little bit about, like, as an athlete and as when you're growing up, because hockey, you know, this is something you do from the time you could probably walk. You have the hockey stick in your hand, and then you start playing, and then your game progresses. And then are you thinking at some point while you're playing, like, as you start maturing and as you get older, that what am I going to do when this is over? I mean, does that start to filter in, or do you just finish and then you're like, oh shit, now what do I do?
It's a good question. A lot of guys don't think about exactly what you just talked about. They don't think about the post hockey until it actually fucking smacks them right in the face. And a lot like us, Obi, Joffrey Lupul, and our boys always go to Bonnaroo. We were lucky that we had each other. We weren't married, we were single, but we always were, thinking the same things, doing the same things, traveling, meeting people, really getting to enjoy our lives and live it. So as the days started to wind down, Loop started a restaurant in New York and wanted to live in New York. It was a big thing that he always wanted to do. I think Obi always wanted to get into media. So, he spent some time, like he said, doing Sportsnet and, carrying on that. But for a lot of guys who don't think about post hockey, it can come up quick. And, we're fortunate enough now that we met some great people down here in Orange County that share our best interests for business and all have supported our podcast. We're extremely thrilled to be doing that part-time right now. And, once hockey gets started up, I think I speak for Obi and I, we hope that this carries into creating maybe a show, being part of hockey. I think I've loved the game so much. It's been so good to me that, it'll always be part of my life. So to be able to be on the other side of it, the media side now, getting to, chirp the coaches and chirp the management for the stupid shit that they do rather than them be able to control us. Now it's kind of nice. The things have changed sides. So it's been good, but it's been a learning lesson and an experience itself.
Shane?
Yeah, for me, Jeff, you know what? I finished playing NHL, and then I played a little bit back in the American League. And then I went a couple of years when I was going to Europe that I had no contract. So I was sitting around waiting for a deal. So some guys, they just play and then it ends. For me, it kind of like I got a taste of it, then I played again, and I got a taste of not playing. So for me, it prepared me. It was still extremely hard, but I think it helped a little bit that I had to wait for contracts. I had to, find some other stuff to do and get ready for retirement, because it's definitely tough. But I think it's tougher if you play and then all of a sudden one year they say you're done, you don't play. I think that's when guys have a really, really hard time with it.
We're going back and forth like a yo-yo.
Yeah, exactly. So
we always got dirty, Obi. We went in the dirty area. So
so I knew my retirement was coming sooner than later. I stretched it out a couple more years to go to Europe just to experience the culture. But I think for a lot of guys, when you're in the NHL and then all of a sudden you don't get a contract and you're done, those are the guys that really struggle with it, in my opinion.
But how do you, what is it? Like, does the NHL, do they like go through that, like post retirement and what to do when it's done? I mean, I guess you can, there are teams that you could work with if they want, there's opening in coaching and stuff like that, or in the front office. You can go into sports, they go into broadcasting. But is there any kind of preparation from them about how to set yourself up? Because it's really hard on your body and your mind. I mean, you're doing that for 2 decades. At the end of 20 years, you're kind of probably, especially you, Shane, you spend most of your time, dishing it out and taking it.
Yeah, I know and you know what? It's something that the NHL doesn't really do a good enough job, in my opinion. I mean, we all know as athletes, Jeff, that it's going to come to an end. I had a lot of great veteran guys. I'm sure Uppy did as well, that warned you as your career went on that it was going to come to an end. And I remember like my first couple of years thinking this is going to last forever. And then before I know it, it's like 10 years later, I'm out of the NHL and I'm scrapping for a job. So it's tough, man. And there was some, when I first didn't have a contract and I'm hanging out in Newport and Uppy's still playing and Loops is doing this thing in New York and I was hanging by myself, man. It was there's some long days, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do now? But you stick with it, and like you said, hockey gave us so much. I wanted to stay in the game, and so far the media has been fun for us.
Yeah, well, you've been spending all this time. You guys are experts in the field at this point because you're so up on it. What's your take on this new season now, and what's going to happen this season? Are they starting soon? Because I'm talking about the timing.
Yeah, it looks like right now. I mean, I think I speak for the masses as a fan. We were just happy to see them be able to play playoffs and be a success. They were such a successful enterprise for playoff hockey. Give out the cup to someone this year was an honor, I think, for the NHL. But it looks like sometime in the new year is when they're going to, start the season. No one really knows if it's going to be a full 82 games. It definitely doesn't look like that, or if teams will be able to travel over the border into Canada. It looks like maybe they'll do like a Canadian division, and then also do like 3 or 4 regional divisions down here in the U.S. just to keep things simple. But that's what they've been saying, Obes, don't you think?
Yeah. So Jeff, the biggest problem is with hockey, we don't have a great television contract, right? We got 1 year left with NBC, and obviously a lot of our revenue comes from Canada. And there's a thing called escrow that these players already have to pay. And without fans, they're just not going to generate enough revenue that it's going to be almost worth it. So they're taking their time. From what we've heard from guys, they're going to start with some fans in the building in certain states. And obviously, like Uppy said, the biggest problem is Canada, right? No one knows what's going to happen. Probably be a Canadian division. They'll just play each other. But for me and Uppy, man, we want it to start because it makes our podcast way more fun. When we get to talk about hockey and bring guests on, it's a lot more enjoyable for us.
Yeah, well, you guys, you can plug into what's going on. I mean, I thought it was really unusual to be outside and be 100 degrees and then walk inside and there's a hockey game on TV. Like it was so bizarre this summer, It
was great to we'd be playing golf and then, we finished playing golf and come in to be a Stanley Cup playoff game on in August. We were like, this is unbelievable. But for the players, it must have been crazy.
Yeah, because everybody had to change, but really hard when you have all the teams and it's the beginning of the season and you got to kick it off with, trying to figure out the travel and all those things. And you really can't do a bubble with that many teams, right? It's too much.
Yeah. So from what we've heard is there's going to be a Canadian division and then there'll be like a Western division and a kind of an East, and they'll split it down the middle for obviously the cost of travel won't be as much for these teams. The safety for COVID, they won't have to go to, travel as far and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think Uppy agrees with me, and Uppy, you touch on this, but hockey needs fans. And listen, I know COVID's spiking and all this stuff. I get it, safety first. But without fans, I don't know if the NHL is going to be able to do it, Updog.
Yeah. They've done a good job, though, of finding ways to get fans excited for things. Well, whether it's outdoor hockey games over the years or, you give credit to like the commissioner and all like the small owners, because there's a ton of owners out there that lose money every year and they just still stick with it for what they would call like the love of the game and for their cities and the kids in their cities to enjoy hockey. So that's, you're starting to see that more and more. These owners are paying players now and it's costing them money and they're still trying to put this together. So they get through this, I think they'll be able to get through anything.
Yeah, well, it was really tough. I think basketball did an amazing job. I mean, hockey did a very, very good job also. Baseball,
Yeah, baseball had a tough run there.
Tough run. College football, oof.
Yeah, they thought they had it, and then all of a sudden Turner, game 6 or whatever it was, gets COVID. I felt bad for their commissioner a little bit because, like you said, Jeff, baseball, the whole time they were trying to figure out how they're going to play, and it was just a nightmare. So it was a tough stretch for them.
And ultimately, NFL also having some problems too with teams getting the COVID. I mean, it does seem like they're going through it pretty quick. It's like I heard Cam Newton had it, and like a week later he's on the field playing. I mean, so it seems to be running the course really fast. I know we're not disease experts, but does it seem like the athletes are able to process it faster? I mean, because they're in better shape.
I know the few guys in the St. Louis Blues who got it back in let's just say June, when they started to come back and play in their training camps before the playoffs started. And 2 of them in particular got really banged up from it, where they legit were told by certain doctors that, although you don't have symptoms anymore, like you got to take it easy going back on the field, because this could be a long-term effect, like whether it's on your lungs or your head. No one really knows anything on this stupid disease, but It all depends. I don't know, Jeff, if you've had it, but I mean, I had it back in April. I had lost the taste and smell, really the only symptoms I had, and I was fine. I probably could have went and played golf, played hockey the next day and probably felt fine. But some guys, it affects them, a lot worse. So
I think it's just when you hear the word positive test, everybody is like, but in all of California, we have 40 million people in California. We have had a lot more cases, but my wife and I were out to lunch, or we're out today on the beach. It's like 48 people yesterday out of 40 million died of COVID. And that's not a lot. I mean, we have that many die of car accidents at least every day in the state of California. So it's kind of crazy, the precautions we're going through. I know the whole thing's blowing up now across the United States. You see what's happening. The numbers are going up, but I just don't know what the severity is. And like, if people are processing it in 2 days, I don't know. I wish I was an epidemiologist at a certain point. I feel like I keep educating myself. Like last week, I became a political expert.
You've always been a musical expert. And
that's true. And we met at Bonnaroo. How did you guys end up at Bonnaroo? Whose idea was that?
So it was me and Lupul's idea. We got back one year after we were both living in Philadelphia, and I was actually dating a chick from Nashville. I had recently played in Nashville. I was dating this super cool, like, hippie chick, and she always sent me good music. I learned so much of like my flavor, my music flavor from her. And she was going there with a bunch of friends. So Lupul and I get back from Ibiza. We go to Barcelona, Amsterdam, Ibiza. We get back to Philadelphia, and we're like, fuck, do you really want to go home yet? Like, to Alberta? What the fuck are we going to do back home? It's still cold there. So we go, we're like, let's go to Bonnaroo. This girl I'm seeing is there. So we go down there. We meet Weinstock through a music friend. And I remember walking through the artist area right behind Witch Stage, Jeff. And I'm like, fuck, Loops, we got to meet this guy. I have no idea what he looks like. And he came over and he fucking handed us 2 laminates. And he said, follow me. And he brought us up on stage and we watched Jack.
This guy right here?
This fucking guy right here. Is he right now? He said, look at his.
He said, you called me because of Tommy D from Crocs.
Oh, that is right. Of course. That is Tommy D. So, I had dinner with Tommy D. I had to go meet my boy Jason Weinstock down at Bonnaroo. So we bombed through. He hands us 2 laminates. He brings us up on stage. We watch Jack Johnson play in front of, probably 20,000 people in the afternoon. And I'm like, Loops, this guy's not a bad guy. we can hang out with this guy. So that week ended up being, it was myself, Jeff Carter, who played with the Kings, won a couple cups here, Lupul, a couple of my buddies from Nashville. And it became our June religion to mark off the dates and to get to fly into Nashville on Wednesday night. We'd have a night at the Tin Roof with our boys, and we'd all drive out and we'd go, we'd do, Dan Berkowitz would take care of us with CID Entertainment, and we would have a big bus and we would just fucking rage. It would be gas pedal right to the floor, and 4 days of the best fun you could ever have. So, Obi, I think you came the next year. Right?
Jeff, I came a couple years after that, and Updog's like, hey, Weinstock was telling me they got this new thing where we stay on a tour bus and we bomb around in golf carts, and the bar's 24 hours. And we watched the show from the sound check, and there's beers, and I'm like, I'm fucking in. I don't care what it costs. You tell me I'm in. And we went, and we went the first night in Nashville, like Uppy said, and then we went 4 nights as hard as we could at the Roo. And after that, I was hooked. And obviously, Weinstock took great care of us. Met so many cool people, and it was the Updog's time to shine. He was first star of Bonnaroo. He ran that bus, glow sticks, everything going on. So. I can't wait for concerts to come back, man. It sucks that we can't see live music. I'm sure you feel the same way, Jeff. I know you do, actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys retired, you retired for various reasons. I got retired because the whole industry stopped, Yeah. I mean, you saw the writing on the wall. You had time to prepare. Talk about getting slammed and just being like, oh, I have this amazing life. Like, I had 2020 summer was planned to the T, Bonnaroo, outside lands, some Coachella to see Rage Against the Machine. I'm sure, we were all on the same page. And it was just like such a shot across my bow. And, I'm trying to figure out now what's going on. Ticketmaster released a thing today where in their app, if you buy a ticket, you're going to have a COVID test within 24 to 72 hours, depending on what show you're going to see and where you're coming from, you get tested, and it's going to be on your app and with your ticket when you get scanned in to go to the event. So I guess this instant testing and trying to get the shows could be the first thing that happens. Socially distanced, like you talked about hockey with like they're doing now with the NFL, where they have people inside the stadiums. So there's got to be a way for the fans to get back at it, because this is all for us, right? We go to these things. These guys from Superfly, the NHL, they do this stuff for the fan to keep us entertained. I mean, this is tradition, but it's been something all our lives. It's been such a thing. And now, setting all these traditions, we're starting to question everything. Like my family the other day is questioning Thanksgiving. I know you guys are from Canada, so you don't give a shit.
No, man. I
can't stand when people are questioning that. I'm like, it's your family. You're gonna fucking sit around and think, and watch football, and you're gonna fucking drink wine together and eat turkey. And if there's 6 or 16, it shouldn't matter. You're fucking family. You're all in the same. It blows my mind that that's where we have to be, unfortunately, and that you can't go, spread around the field in fucking Manchester, Tennessee, fucking hug people and watch shows all night. You're in the fresh air.
If COVID was the only thing you got at Bonnaroo, then you got out of Bonnaroo, okay, if you ask me back in the day. If I was leaving with just COVID, I would be like, whoo, dodged the bullet there, Upshall.
I can't wait till next year. I might just stay here right now. I'll get back here.
Well, after the first year of Bonnaroo, supposedly there was a naked guy spotted on the side of the road where the farm was for a couple months. People would drive by, they see a naked guy in the woods. But that is fucking hilarious. I was saying that your COVID test, like your instant COVID test, should test you for everything. So you get it on the app. Yeah. Let me see. You got herpes? Oh, sorry.
We're off Bonnaroo.
Hey, I just remember at Bonnaroo up. You remember late night we'd always see Jeff. He had his own golf cart. You'd just be bombing around Jeff show to show. Do you remember that, Ups?
Of course.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Guys got to roll around on their own golf carts, and Jeff was always one of them.
Just bombing around.
The best was when we connected, you told me that your manager, your agent, Steve Kotlowitz, and my first client was Cheryl Kotlowitz at Paramount Pictures when I was starting my photography career. I know Steve was working there, and then he worked at CAA for a while, and then he became a hockey agent because he loved hockey, and just a legend, right?
He's a legend. I go way back with Steve. His first maybe 3 years, he moved to Canada and started to take on, hockey and being a hockey agent. He left Hollywood. I went and lived with him. I was like 15 years old. They recruited me. I was living in a small town, Fort McMurray. So I would spend like a month and a half working out with a trainer in Edmonton, where Steve lived. He had a beautiful house there, him and his boys, and I would fucking live in their basement. I'd come home every Saturday night super fucking late with maybe a guest or two. And it was like him and Cheryl took care of me. They're like my second home away from home. So, when I first started to do these festivals and enjoy the music side of things, Steve always knew I'd like to have a good time. He's like, my God, you're going to run into my boy Kravitz at one of these festivals. He's going to have the best weed ever. So make sure he's like, stay away from him or stay really close to him. And sure enough, here we are. So yeah, he's a great guy, and Cheryl's salt of the earth.
It's funny you bring up cannabis, and I was always amazed. I was like, wow, you hockey guys really like the cannabis. I wouldn't think that goes with training, but you guys broke it down for me and was like, look, alcohol debilitates us. It takes us 2 days to get over the booze. So if you're drinking for pain, you're going to really end up not be able to play at your best level the next day. So you guys were using cannabis for pain back then. I mean, the NHL has to look the other way, right? I mean, they're not really. They don't want to know.
With weed, Obi, I think I speak for everyone. With weed, it's not really we get drug tested often. So every maybe 6 to 8 times a year, you'll come in for practice. And basically there's writing on the wall. We're going to pee today. Doctors are here, or, the security's here, and you got to in front of them pee. So whether,
like right in front of him, like this guy, Jeff, is standing like staring at your horn. You're like, hey, bud, give me a couple feet, bud. Move back a bit here. You're literally staring right at it. Like it's making it hard.
So what they look out for with weed, and I've only known one guy to get actually in trouble for it, was if you were hitting the bong like Cheech and Chong the night before, like after a game, and you're playing video games and you can't sleep, and you wake up at 7:30 to go to the rink, and you're still fucking high, like from the night before, then your pee might be just glowing with with THC.
You have a higher level.
Yeah, they're gonna give you a knock and be like, hey, just so you know, like you can't be at practice with levels this high. And that kind of goes for any sort of drug. But weed, I think people are starting to realize that what we do to our bodies and what everyday people deal with, opiates and alcoholism and all that stuff. Marijuana is a healer, man, and that's one thing that I've always believed. My mom has smoked pot. Like, I should probably listen to this, but she's smoked her whole life. She doesn't really drink.
Well, Canada had a different viewpoint towards
cannabis
early on.
Yeah. But it's a healing product, and it should be used the right way and not abused. And I think we've been moving forward. I think this election just proved that a lot of new states are implementing legalization, and I think it's for the better. Hey, I want to say this. You always used to tell me one way. I'd be like, "How the fuck did you get this weed in here, Jeff? This stuff is unbelievable." And you told me how you used to take it, like how you used to bring it, and you used to put it in your rolls of film. You remember that?
Yeah.
Rolls, and you're like, I can pack so much in one of these little.
I'd be like this.
You're like, and there's no way. Like, this is in my camera bag. This is perfect. And then you always had a good pen too. Your pens were lethal. Let's fucking watch out for those. That
was the cutting edge, because people would always be like, "Hey,
yeah,
Shane, you got 2 cents? I know you got 2 cents on this here."
Yeah. For me, and you talked about alcohol. Like, for me, after games, I would go home and I'd smoke some weed, and it would keep me from going out to the bars. Like, if I wouldn't have gone home and smoked some weed, I would have had a couple glasses of wine and a scotch. Next thing you know, I probably would end up going out that night. And for me, I'd come home, have a glass of wine, smoke a little weed, and before you know it, I'm fucking tired and going to bed. And it just helped me mentally and obviously physically too. And I smoked throughout my whole career. Like, as it went on, I kind of slowed down near the end, but that was just because my metabolism was slowing down. I couldn't get the munchies quite as bad. But for me, it kept me in at night, helped me sleep, and it was, I always thought it helped me just recover and mentally be, just get back to neutral for the next day.
Talk about old school hockey players that would be crushing 6-packs in between periods. That happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was before. Yeah, that was probably the era, like in the 80s, right? Up here, maybe like around there.
I think it's even earlier than that.
Earlier than that,
I played with a guy, and Obi, you might have too, but I played in the NHL with a Russian guy who when he signed on our team in Nashville, they built him a smoking room right next to our fucking dressing room. Like, so in between periods, he would go and he'd hack 2 darts. And the nights he would go, Danny Markov, the nights he would go out the night before the game, whether if we were in Miami, LA, Chicago, he would have these Russian buddies pick him up as soon as we get to the hotel. He'd leave with like a briefcase, go in these fucking crazy cars. The next day be just hung over as hell, and he'd be fucking hacking darts all day. And one time in Chicago, he came up to me and he was like, "Uppy, how bad did I look out there?" And I'm like, "He didn't look that bad." And he told me a story of how he came home, went to the wrong room, and ended up knocking on our assistant coach's room. And like at like fucking 3 or 4 in the morning. And he's like, "Fuck, last night I woke the coach up," and he's stressed out, he's puffing darts. But the boys definitely liked their beers back in the day. I played with another guy, Mike Sillinger, who one day after practice, he's like, "Hey, we're going golfing today." We're in Nashville too. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm 20 years old." I'm like, "Fuck, pick me up." And he picks me up. He opens his glove box, and he's got a fucking 12-pack of beer on ice in his truck, and he just starts slamming them while on our way to the ground. And I'm like, "Fuck, okay, this is how we're doing."
What a veteran. What a veteran.
Like, he had the nice big fucking, glove box just full of beer. So that's how they worked back then. It was a little less stress on your body, more enjoyment to the game. Now it's way more physically demanding. Kids can't do that. Your body's got to be in tip-top shape. The day or the time you start to let things loose, you end up getting hurt, or you end up, doing something dumb, playing bad, getting yourself in trouble. So games are so fast, so important now. You got to be on your best behavior. So.
Yeah, I think it changed. Like, when we came in the league, Jeff, like, our veterans, right? They were, they'd have beers after the game, beers on the plane, and us young guys, we wanted to join them. We're like, fuck, let's have a beer with a veteran guy. Like, for me, it was Travis Green and O'Donnell and Solani, these guys. I wanted to hang out with them. And then as my career went on and I turned into a veteran, same with Uppy, like, these young kids, you would have to, like, they wouldn't even want a beer. You're like, "Hey, kid, you want a beer? Good game tonight?" No. He was like, "No, I'm good." So it changed from the start of our career to the end, where And now it's even worse. Guys don't even go out for dinners. They just, I guess it's such a speedy game now, and you got to be on top of your game. Like Uppy said, that there's no room for it. But to me, it kind of sucks that the game's changed that much, and guys can't even go for beers or red wine and enjoy themselves.
Well, has it gotten a lot faster and a lot more athletic? Hockey?
Yeah, it's way faster. It's not nearly as physical. It's actually, so Jeff, we have these guys that do these Missin Curfew clips for us. These guys from Canada, he's a fucking beauty. And he put a hit up of Uppy, who it was a clean hit back in our day. This guy had his head down, and Uppy came across the ice and fucking leveled him. And I'm like, Uppy, how many games do you think you get today? And he's like, it's a clean hit, Obes. I'm like, I know it was clean, but you're at least getting one or two no matter what. Because the game has changed so much. It's speed, skill, I get it. And now when you see a big hit, everyone's like, that's a suspension no matter what.
So has the concentration gone out of the fighting and out of the brawling and into more of the finesse?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, listen, a guy like Brian McGrath, who I love, and Colton Orr, and these guys got so big. And I told Bigger in this when we were playing together near the end of our career in San Diego. You know, he's like, the game's soft. I said, I agree with you, but you guys got so big and so tough. And like, these guys would train in the summer for fighting that somebody was going to die. Like George Peros hit his head on the ice and was out cold. It's like, so the NHL was like, no, we can't have these guys coming out here literally going to kill each other because they got so big and so tough, Ups, eh?
Yeah, no, of course. And then it pretty much was you just didn't want to see anyone get like really hurt. And that's, that was the thing. And always with looking back, we played with some tough guys who they wouldn't even know there was a puck on the ice, Jeff.
Yeah, they were just out there for one reason.
It was more exciting than anything that happened during the game, any goal or any save. Any hit, like fighting, when those guys would fight, you could hear it in the crowd, like them just like, making contact with each other. And especially if you're on the ice, and your guy drops his gloves, I'm like, okay, here we go. And you move a couple of gloves, move his helmet and his stick out of the way so they don't trip. And then you get a fucking front row view of just a bare knuckle brawl.
Well, Scottie, let's face it, with a face like yours, you don't want to fight.
I gotta get my face good for the Bonnaroo crowd, buddy. My bandana, my fucking glow sticks, like Obe said. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was so true, Jeff. Like we would know these heavyweights were gonna fight, and they would get their first shift a minute or two into the game, 2.5 minutes, and we knew that they would square off and fight. And it's like, okay, the fight happened. Now let's play hockey. Like everyone knew it was gonna happen. It was part of the game. The fans loved it, but it was probably like I don't think the stage fighting was ever the best thing, but back in our day, if someone sticked you or fucked with you, you could drop your gloves and sell. Like, man, it kept people honest out there, in my opinion.
Right. Well, listen, I grew up in Atlantic City, so my team was the Flyers because we were closest. So I know Scottie was a huge influence on the Flyers nation. But back in those days, it was Mike the Hammer Schultz. And, Dave Schultz, right?
Dave Schultz, yeah.
Dave Schultz and Bobby Clark and Mike Kelly. I mean, the Broad Street Bullies. I mean, and that was just about blood and missing teeth. And,
Have you seen, you probably saw it, the Broad Street Bullies thing on HBO? The thing they did about, oh my God, it was unbelievable. Like Bobby Clark sitting there, like with his gut hanging out with a beer and having a dart after the game. Like my uncle played in that era for Minnesota. And he's like, that team, you would go into Philadelphia and like, I played in the Spectrum in the minors. I don't know if Uppy did, but you could literally walk in the Spectrum. And I'm not joking. There was like bloodstains on the wall from back in the day. You'd walk in there, you'd be like, could you imagine coming back in here in the fucking 70s when you had to fight these guys? Like it must have been crazy for opponents.
Little trivia, Obes. Who's the last Flyer ever to score a goal in the Spectrum, fella?
Is it you?
You're fucking right.
Regular exhibition game or what?
Exhibition game. I was hungover too. I was fucking.
Sure. I believe that.
It was my birthday that night. Fuck, we took a Sprinter van up to U Penn and just had a time at old Smokey Joe bar up in.
Oh yeah, sure. I remember Smokey Joe's. Yeah, sure. I went to Temple University, so I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia in my formative years. And a great city of champions. They did a great job with the election. We're really happy with our friends from Philly and to see them kick ass and everybody out on the streets partying. It was absolutely. But that original Spectrum, man. I worked there as a security guard when I was in college. So I would work the Flyers games. I'd work the Sixers games.
I saw Neil Young play there. I said it was epic. Who else did I see? I think I saw Kings of Leon play in there. So I caught a couple good shows. I know Pearl Jam played the last couple shows before they tore it down, right?
Yes.
What a venue. A lot of crazy shit went on in that barn.
Oh my God, the Sixers back in the day too. They were unbelievable. Dr. J and Moses Malone. I mean, that was all the stuff, the sports I grew up with, which is kind of like it was a golden era for sure. But it's still happening. I mean, amazing thing about sports is the longevity it has and still engaging. I mean, we were all watching hockey this summer. We were all watching basketball. Everybody lines up to watch the World Series. Dodgers win. I mean, it's a good year for Southern California.
I think, Jeff, and when you talked about when sports were gone through the first, like when coronavirus first hit and there was no sports, everyone was missing it. I think once we get back to where people could go to games, you're going to see more people enjoying basketball or hockey. People are going to go out and go to games. More people are going to go to concerts because it got taken away from us. And I know me, I was like, fuck, I'd give anything to go see a live show right now. So I think once we get it back, people are going to enjoy sports and music even more than we did before coronavirus.
You listen, trying to get tickets to the Lakers is already a $2,500 night for the family, and that's not even great seats, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's already expensive. Trying to get fish tickets for Madison Square Garden over the New Year's run is already a pain in the ass. Just imagine when this is over, and then everybody wants to go. I think there's going to be even more of a demand. Like you said, everybody's going to be stepping up.
That's when we hit Weinstock up there. Weinstock, dial the boys in, eh?
He's always getting to the boys.
Yeah.
Well, we have a very unique family. I mean, you guys were part of it. We went to all these shows together. We had amazing times, and all this stuff is changing. Our lives are changing, and you come out of this, we're all going to be a little bit different. You're going to probably have a 1-year-old.
I hope she's only 9 months, but yeah, let's come out of it sooner than later.
So she's 9 months, or she's 3 months now.
She's 3 months now, but in 6 months, I'm happy to go to festivals if you guys want. If we're allowed to. So,
I'd love to.
Yeah, no, things have changed, no question. You're still going to get your access to those pits, so you've been taking good photos and we'll be putting them on our walls. I know I showed you, but I have a couple of your photos in my garage. I was actually going to set up this little studio down there, but I was fucking running around here.
Well, this summer when I was on the beach in Margate with my friends, with Dennis Seidenberg and Becky Seidenberg, and Dennis played for the Bruins and another amazing hockey player, and they brought Larry Flowers over.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my daughter Kiki today, and she said when she first met Larry, he was wearing a Lawrence Longo's hat off the menu.
Oh, that's right.
And they started talking because she's like, she goes, do you know Lawrence? And he's like, and this is in Margate. How do you know Lawrence? So I'm going to see Lawrence tonight. He's doing a couple events this week. He's brought
for the pizza place.
That's Friday. That's Friday. Tonight is the Kobe shawarma, the Avi Q at the Chinese Theater.
God, that guy, man, he has his hands in more things food related than anyone I know, and for good reasons. His burgers at Burgers Never Say Die is legit. Have you had one of those yet?
Oh yeah, I've had quite a few.
Yeah.
They're
I've
absolutely
been trying to perfect the smash burger myself, and I'm almost there. In Tahoe, I think I must have fucking cooked up 30. I think I'm gonna get I think Lawrence will be trying to bring me in here as a
solid smash burger for Uppy. Yeah, I was solid.
Upshall's burgers. What's up with the podcast now that hockey's over? Are you going to keep doing it? What's your situation? Or are you waiting for the season?
Yeah, no. So we're doing it once a week right now. Last week we had Steven Stamkos on, was an awesome guest for us. We call them kind of friends of the pod. We want to get guys on that we know. Guys that we've played with or just done stuff with. Like we got Jack Eichel maybe coming in next week, who I met at Coachella for the first time. So we're just trying to enjoy it, and we're going to keep it going. And like I said, we need hockey back because it makes our podcast better. And me and Uppy love talking about the game. And from what we've heard, people don't mind listening to it, so it's been fun for us.
Yeah, no, it's a great job. I checked it out. I checked out your Missin Curfew clips on Instagram. You got your Missin Curfew, then the Missin Curfew clips, right? Which is like a best of kind of conglomerate. And what's your day? When is it running? What's it on?
We do Tuesday. So we Obi and I we drive up Tuesday, we film, and then it comes out Thursday. All week long, our guy, like Obi said, Mark is
Yeah.
is doing our clips, and they're funny, man. So if you want to get a feel for what the show is, the Missin Curfew clips on Instagrams, but it's pretty badass. And then who knows from there? Yeah, we got some more good friends coming on. Lupo's been on, Flowers has been on.
So do you have to have the people in person? You do it
we usually bring them into studio. So our studio is great. That Action Park studio that Kevin's built is
Action Park Media.
We drink a bottle of wine, and it's 11 a.m. We go in, we get
two bottles of wine,
a little bit, a couple bottles, just to get the flow going. It sounds great. We usually put a good tune on to start the thing off, and Obi's done a great job of leading the way and directing our. Usually we keep it about an hour. So, like you said, things have changed since this whole thing hit. Your show has become a 420 regular, thing that people tune in for. And we're hoping every Thursday people get excited for our show, and we're going to bring them every week, hopefully till, hockey starts up again.
So you shoot video, but then you put it in audio on all the like Apple and Spotify and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah, the video's done, but the video's more used just for clips. So we don't really release anything. We might do a YouTube page here eventually. I think that was a goal of ours, to get something done, create a little more content when we can do more things with our guests, like either golf or go to the beach or go to a concert or whatever it is, go to a hockey game with them. There's a lot of cool things you can do once things get back to normal.
We'd like to go back to all the places we enjoyed throughout our career, Jeff, and bring the camera crew and show people what Missin Curfew is all about. And hopefully someday we'll be able to do that, because we were blessed to do what we did, and we missed the spots we hung out in. So it'd be fun to go back and enjoy.
It would be great just to get like tours of every city where this is where we ate, this is where we hung out, the life that you had, because you really can pick from wherever you want to do. You guys are traveling around the whole country. So
yeah, we've been to a lot of places. A lot of places have been good to us. A lot of places kicked the shit out of us too.
Bonnaroo kicked the shit out of me every year. I'll tell you, that flight back was like,
I used to leave Bonnaroo after 4 days of just the best fun you could ever have, and I would be energized. I could go do 5 more days somewhere else. These guys would be like, that flight home was probably death for you, Obes. I used to be sad.
Me and PJ, we were hurt, but Uppy would still have energy left. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do it.
Fucking another gear. I could hit another gear going on those festivals.
Uppy was always so sad the morning we woke up when they're like coming to clean the bus out and stuff. And
I'd be teary-eyed.
I'm like, fuck Uppy. We've been here for 4 nights and we slept for 4 hours. So I think we did all right.
Well, you're planning the whole year to come, and then as you get closer, it's like fucking Christmas. Bonnaroo was like Christmas. It was like, holy shit, it's like the high holy days or something. You're like, all right.
Yeah. The coolest thing for me about it was obviously like the music was amazing. How late the parties went, and just the people. Everyone was so chill. Like, we go out in Hollywood a lot, and listen, we had a lot of great times. But you go to these Hollywood parties, and these people are fucking, this LA crowd. You're like, whatever. You go to Bonnaroo, everyone's there for the music. They're there for the parties. It was just good vibes, and we look forward to it every year. We were like, we're not missing Bonnaroo.
Well, and I also found a huge difference between Coachella and Bonnaroo, something like that.
Massive difference. Massive difference. Not even close. Bonnaroo. I mean, there's some good after parties at Coachella. Don't get me wrong.
Coachella was great because you had the golf and the really nice place to stay, and you could go in and blow in for 4 or 5 hours and have an amazing time, and then go back and party more. But Bonnaroo, you didn't leave the site. We were all there for the music. We were all stuck together in the middle of flipping nowhere. It's not like certain guys like, oh, I'm going back to Nashville tonight. You're like, what? Why would you do that? This is a party.
There's no reason to leave here, bud.
No, it had everything you wanted.
Yeah, packing for Bonnaroo is great too, because the elements could be they could be 110 and humid as fuck, or it could be sideways winds and rain like you've never seen before. So you had to be prepared for absolutely everything and anything. And then you needed all your curriculars.
Yeah. Your first Bonnaroo, you learn like, okay, listen, I got to bring like 12 pairs of underwear. I got to bring some stuff like, because it's little monkey butts, lots of socks. Like, it's just like, you got to be ready to rock.
Well, the best advice I got from Weinstock was like, man, I was complaining because I was so chafed. And he's like, Kravitz, you got to get the wick away underwear. You can't be wearing like Fruit of the Looms and jockey out here. You got to get the aerodynamic. And I'm like, huh? And trust me, I've kicked up my underwear game because of Jason Weinstock, like you wouldn't believe.
Our boy and Conn Smythe winner, MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year, Ryan O'Reilly, would show up with jean shorts and
like
even
tight jean shorts, tight. I'm like, factor.
No fucking underwear.
Oh,
and wear like a John Varvatos, low cut kind of semi dress shoe with like a little tiny no see sock. I'm like, bro, are you fucking nuts? Like, and he would just own it.
He would own it.
Little top hat.
Yeah. He looked like he could have been in the Lumineers. He could have been playing the fucking show.
How was his feet and his crotch by the end of the day?
His first Bonnaroo, I had an extra pair of like Lululemon like core shorts. I brought a bunch of them. So after the first night, he was chafing early. I'm like, Factor here, I got you, buddy. Wear these. And he still wore the jean shorts, the tight ones, and the loafers up here, Sam. But at least he had some little protection from rubbing. But he was hurting after the first night. He was chafed up pretty good.
I got some of Jeff. I have some unbelievable photos. Every year we would go into Danny Clinch's tent, right? And he would shoot us, and we'd meet some guys like Citizen Cope one year, and a bunch of you just could meet everyone and anyone going into Danny's tent there, right? And so he took pictures of us the one year, but O'Reilly took his teeth out, and Danny was like, "You just fucking take your teeth out?" He's like, "Yeah." And so Danny took like photos of his teeth, like on a stool, and then him smiling, and I got all these like kind of background photos of it all, and it's just memories through photos. Obviously, you're one of a kind in your work, but I look back at some photos at Bonnaroo, and it's everything. The music, the stuff you can film and see at Bonnaroo, and some of the venues we've been to are one of a kind.
Yeah, and it's all about the love there. It's all about like people just grooving and having fun and connecting. And it's not about, look, I got this and you got that. It's all about sharing. I mean, it's all the things that are important, but I think it's because we're in the middle of nowhere and everybody's trying to survive.
I used to love when Weinstock would come back to the bus late night, be like, what is going on back here, boys? He's like, is anyone smoking weed or what is going on back here?
Is it just chemicals?
Is it just chemicals or is anyone smoking pot around here?
We had some good times there. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to more. I appreciate you guys coming on. It's great catching up with you guys, and good luck with the podcast. Keep it going. And we'll be tuning in and checking you out. And thanks for coming on 420 Live and chatting with us. Anything you want to tell everybody out there before I cut you loose?
Stay dancing, stay moving, folks, because this fucking music's coming back soon. Woo!
Yeah. And check out Missin Curfew. You guys will like it. You don't have to be a hockey fan. We talk about all kinds of stuff, and you might learn a little bit about hockey, but we just have laughs and good times, so you probably enjoy it.
Great. Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
Take care. Great catching up. There you go. Obi out. Scottie Upshall out. Great to talk to the guys today. Thank you so much. Hockey, music. We cover it all here. Sports, sex, drugs, rock and roll. We got into it tonight. It was great. I love talking to the guys and all the different flavors and, the legendary Jason Weinstock chiming in. Thank you, Jason, for all you've done for everybody out there in our little community. Tomorrow we got Ethan Miller on from Hal and Rain. Friday we got Paul Peck coming on with Ben Ellman and David Foster to talk about saving tips. Make sure Saturday you're tuned in to Saving Tips, a 3-hour special. Tipitina's trying to save some of our favorite venues. And talking about saving venues, next Tuesday we will have the National Independent Theater Owners, NITO. 3 of the board members from NITO will be on the show, and we'll be talking to them about how we can save music and how we could save our scene and what we could do to save these theaters that are slowly closing, and what we could do, because let's face it, we're going to need these places when we come back. There's not going to be enough places for all of us to go and get entertained out there. Let me tell you about my sponsors. Grady's, my bag of Grady's Cold Brew. Get your Grady's Cold Brew kit. New Orleans chicory style iced coffee. You throw the water in the bag and then you let it sit for 6 to 8 hours. You take the bags out. This gets mixed with either half water or half milk when you put it in your cup. And you don't need sugar because it's got New Orleans style chicory, and you get 20% off if you go to Grady'sColdBrew.com/420live. That will give you your 20% off coupon. Get your Grady's. It'll keep going. Your store and pour pouch right here, your bean bags, everything you need right here. This has a bunch. This is all natural, sugar-free. Just add water, brews hot too. So you can make your hot coffee too if you want to make your hot coffee. Grady's, coldbrew.com, 420 live, 20% off. That's a really good discount. Get your Grady's, folks. And then our friends at Sin Lawn, Synthetic Lawn. If you enter their contest and use the code sinlawn.com/420live, you will get entered into a contest and win 11x14 of your choice from my collection of over 500,000 different pictures of your favorite celebrities. You get a 5 foot by 7 foot roll of this. If you're lucky enough to win, you could possibly win both. And this stuff is great. Kind of like it like that. The Kid in Play look. Dun, dun, dun. Bride of Frankenstein. That's Bride of Frankenstein. I'll be back a little bit more like that. Anyway, Sin Lawn, 420 live. Enter the contest. Enter in for a print. You get a photo print. It's almost like you can win 2 prizes. The grand prize is a 5 foot by 7 foot roll. And everybody that enters with the 420 live will get entered for an 11x14 from the Jeff Kravitz, jeffkravitzphoto.com. If you haven't seen my pictures, you haven't seen what I used to do back in the day when I had a job, go to 420live.com and you can go on. Save Our Stages. Yes, we will be talking about that. That's going to be on Tuesday. Monday, we're going to go to Prince Street Pizza and we're going to meet Dom and his dad. And we're going to talk to the guys who founded Prince Street Pizza. We're going to eat some pizza. The show is moving also. That's something everybody should realize, that the time slot for the show is moving to the East Coast 420. We will be getting a little puff with you at 420 EST, Eastern Standard Time, because we put the clock back. ET in the summer, EST in the winter. EST, Eastern Standard Time, 4:20 p.m. We will be going live 1:20 on the East Coast. So that's going to open us up to some European guests, hopefully, if the phone works. I'm feeling good. We're kind of out of Mercury retrograde. I didn't have any major snafus today. The guys had a good signal. I could hear them. Benji was kind of hiccuping yesterday. Tune in tomorrow. Hal and Rain, Ethan Miller, Friday. You guys got it. Peace, love, happiness to everybody out there. Oh, big hug. I'm feeling it today. I'm headed to Hollywood right now to go to the AVQ at the Chinese Theater. My friend Lawrence Longo from Off the Menu. We were talking about Lawrence today on the show. Well, he'll be on the show also on Monday. So check us out. It's Wednesday. 2 more days to the weekend. It's always the weekend, right? Where are you going? What you doing? I got this new vacation spot. It's right down the street from my house. I go there for like hourly trips. It's called Costco Rica. We're going to Costco Rica. That's my budget right now. Costco Rica. I'm going to get some things. All right, folks.